Good day, everybody. A few words from my side on BSP. But before doing so, I want to put it into perspective. We are on a journey. We have said we want to move this business from being ignored via being respected towards being the most admired food service business in the world. In order to do so, we also have focused our activities and our strategic agenda on 3 levels. First, we wanted to professionalize the basics of this business. Then we have focused on professionalizing sales. And now we are focusing on making this business a marketing and sales-driven organization. In doing so, we will become the most admired food service business in the world. In order to do that, it is also crucial that we create systems and processes that allow us to integrate marketing and sales programs. And that is what BSP is all about, integration of marketing and sales programs. It is important because we also want to drive fewer, bigger, better initiatives. And what we also believe is in order to make an initiative big, the total company has to be aligned. It cannot be true that the agenda of marketing is a different one than the agenda of sales. We must have one company agenda that is driven by a common view of marketing and sales. And that is really where BSP is all about. And that is why we have designed this process, not to make your life difficult, but to align our organization behind driving bigger, fewer, better bets. I wish you a good day.
Thanks, Leo. As Leo mentioned, this business is on a journey. And as you begin your journey this year for BSP, Peter and I would like to take the time to take you through some videos and PowerPoints so that you better understand the process and are able to be successful. Peter?
That's right, Greg. So what is BSP all about? We are in a good shape that we have set out 2015 plans for each of our MCOs. That is then translated into an annual target for each MCO. Now, what does everybody need to do tomorrow to make that target? That's what the BSP is all about.
In the end, it's about aligning in a complex business. We all know that we have demands on our time from many directions, and what we want to do is manage the workload and make trade-offs. In the end, it's about driving fewer, bigger, and better actions so that we accomplish our goals throughout the year. One critical learning that we found in managing BSP4 over the years is that we need to make a clear link to execution, and that link needs to continue after the plan is done. So today, as we take you through the process, we hope you'll listen, learn, and really embed this in your organization to drive the action and ambition that we need for 2015. This is the process. We start the year with audits in our functional areas, and that's all about bringing in insights, learning, and experience from prior years. We take that audit information and we move into one team, one plan kickoff. And that's just simply a meeting where we align all the functions, understand how those informations relate to our 2015 strategic thrusts so that we can move forward in an aligned and prioritized way. From there, it's about making functional plans, and these are formulating the jobs to be done for category, channel, UFS brand, and customer development. As we move through those plans, it becomes evident that some of the jobs to be done are similar. So we begin to make trade-offs, and those trade-offs become very important as we move into the marketing and sales plan that Peter will cover with you now.
Exactly, because by now each of the functions have their wish list at the level of job to be done. It is then crucial that we bring those all together in that one meeting around the 15th of June, where you look at in detail what each of the functions want to do and what the jobs to be done are they would like to set themselves out. Now, if you look at those properly, you'll see there's a lot of overlap or things possible to be combined. We call that blending the job to be done. So bring them together and formulate those job to be done which really work for you as an MCO. The summary of those, aligned with your 2015 objectives, will then formulate the basis of your marketing and sales plan. That's the core of what you as an MCO want to do this year. Once that's ready, you make an abstract of that for each of the functions again. So what is the work plan each of the functions will have to commit to make that big idea of the MCO marketing and sales plans work? And that's where the level of details behind the actions get formulated. On the next step forward, you will talk about integrated business plans. So per part of the business which you think is relevant to focus around, you formulate a group of cross-functional members. And with those together, you're going to detail out further and say, what does this mean for this area of the business? For instance, you have decided in your big MCO marketing and sales plan that you wanted to do with Chinese New Year. Fantastic. Now, what does that mean for each of the functions? And how are you going to execute it in detail? A lot of people have to do a lot of things to make that one big idea work in your MCO. Ending with detailed sales activity plans at country or regional level. So each of the pull, the push, and all the other route to markets will create their own activities which are truly KPI'd to understand what everybody wants to do in that part of the period. So it brings us from all the way from audits and ideas through a big milestone, your marketing and sales plan, into full execution of an annual plan at detailed level per person.
Peter, thanks. Because what it's all about to this point is planning. And now what we clearly need to do, and the element that we've added for this year, is around execution. What's critical as you move into the year is that you recognize the opportunities and gaps that arise to your plan. And even more importantly, that those opportunities and gaps are addressed in an organized and systematic way. The forum to do this is in your QBRs and potentially in your S&OP discussions at MCO and at country level. This process is absolutely fundamental to what we try to achieve in a step up in execution. As you go through the year, you don't simply add activities to address an opportunity or to bridge a gap that you have. You must make further trade-offs within the year as you go forward to make sure that everyone stays aligned behind fewer, bigger, and better actions so that you can achieve your plan in the end. We begin the process with audits. These occur in the first quarter of the year, and they serve as input to the One Team, One Plan kickoff meeting that will occur in the March-April timeframe. Why do we do the audits? Very simple. We want to make sure that the plans that we make are relevant to the market and, most importantly, relevant to the customer. We use these audits with updates from global strategies and MCO learning from prior year to serve as the basis for our plan. And as we build that plan, it gives us an idea on the sources of growth. What each function has to do is to review what has and is happening within the scope of each function and why it's happening. They then identify the areas of growth, influence, or opportunity within their function. From this, they capture new key insights, opportunities, and implications. A very important tip, and Peter and I will give these to you throughout the video process, is don't start from scratch. You have the information, you have the learnings from prior years. Utilize that, and only when necessary do a deep dive into the overall category or into the overall channel or into the overall route to market.
Okay, so once the audits are ready, we'll start the first big meeting. It's the meeting with the total MCO leadership team. What you're going to do in this meeting? You're going to review all those audits for each of those functions to get all functions aligned on what's happening in each of their areas, so that everybody is really on the same page when you're starting. The leadership team is then also going to have a look at what was the 2015 plan about again. Are we still right on the priorities understanding these audits, or do we need to change the priorities for one of the functions? That's the moment to do it. And at the end of this meeting, all of the team members have a view and a feel on where the growth is going to come from next year. So we end up with some sort of a bigger plan, an idea of, let's say, what top line the focus should be for the MCOs. And that helps each of the functions to go back now and get themselves ready for further detailing the next steps.
With the guidance from MCO provided in the MCO overview at the One Team, One Plan kickoff meeting, we can now move into the functional areas and developing plans. We do this for a simple reason. We want to drive customer change and behavior change in the marketplace, and through our plans we develop jobs to be done to achieve just that. We use the outputs from the functional audits and with the guidance that we receive from the MCO overview to make sure these functional plans land in the marketplace. Simply, we review the previous activities to identify what remains relevant from a UFS, operator, or route to market perspective. We then identify and select which activities that we'll propose to achieve those jobs to be done in this gear. We identify the project costs and return on investment required to make sure the job to be done is successful. A key tip for this particular area is to work closely between functions. Even though we're developing functional plans, there's an opportunity to already begin blending the jobs to be done into fewer, bigger, better, so that we can make sure we have a massive impact on the marketplace.
So around June, you're ready to make the essence of your MCO plan. It's called the MCO Marketing and Sales Plan. This plan is basically setting up the core of your activities for next year. It starts with your key 5 priorities, which you have derived from your 2015 strategic plan. And now you're going to look into each of the functional plans and see which job to be done could load those priorities. So it's a good assessment of all of those plans in your MCO leadership team. Building on that, we have a hot tip for you, and which is the following. Let me give it an example for you. We call it blending of the job to be done. So for instance, the soup category comes with a job to be done, which goes like, get people to switch to soup for nutritional reasons. At the same time, the canteen team has thought about a good job to be done, which goes as follows. Get people into canteens by offering healthy meals. Now, there was a CD team around change who thought about the following. Increase traffic and social change via front of house solutions. And they could be anything. So as a leadership team reviewing those, the invitation is to find the commonalities in those and to allow yourself to rewrite the job to be done into something which really loads your priority in the MCO. And it could sound like, get more people into canteens by promoting healthier soups. And that gets all of those 3 ideas together. So that's what we call blending of job to be done. It will massively help you to simplify the plan, and it will bring the functions closer together into one team, one plan.
Once your MCO has agreed together the marketing and sales plan for the following year, it's time to begin the detailed work to turn that plan into execution. We take the extract of the marketing and sales plan that's relevant for each function, and we turn it into the work plans that will form the basis for the 3+1 in the following year. Each function needs to make sure that they select the relevant functional activities from the marketing and sales plan and use that to then begin to understand the resource allocations and implications for your MCO. The important tip here is to make sure that you check the resources that are available against the activities that you've planned to ensure that you can be successful at each of those activities that support the jobs to be done. If changes need to be made, now is the time to feed back into the MCO.
Okay, every function knows what they need to do now. The next level is the integrated operational plan. This is where you're going to detail out the job to be done you've set yourself. So, in the example, you've decided that you want to create more traffic into canteens by promoting healthier soups. Now, who does need to do what now to get that? So what soup range are we going to talk about? What kind of activations are we going to talk about? How are we going to reach those canteens? Which canteens are we going to play at? So at this phase, you're going to detail out the actions below that and set KPIs around them. It will also set the objectives for each of the route to markets. For instance, cash and carry needs to start listing this part of the soup range. You want to have your activation out. So here is where you're going to play out on the details to get your plan into action mode. There is a suggestion here. First of all, keep this process at MCO level because it will help you better setting the return of investment calls you have to make at this stage. Another idea. Some MCOs are already organizing themselves into integrated business teams. These are cross-functional teams focusing on a part of the business. So in this case, it could be useful to get a canteen team together with all functions around it and detail out these plans. Again, it sets the objective of how to reach your job to be done, and it sets targets towards the various route to markets in the various countries.
At this point in the process, we now progress from MCO level to country level, and we do that to get closer to the customer reality. We take the information that's in the integrated operations or integrated business team plans, and we turn it into actionable KPIs for each salesperson in a country. So that involves pull, push, chains, and in some markets, cash and carry. We make sure that all the activities that will achieve our jobs to be done are allocated within the calendar and develop specific measurable KPIs to make sure that we achieve each. The important piece here is that CD leaders must conduct a final reality check on the resource availability within their country. If they don't have the availability or the capability to deliver the activities, it must be surfaced back at MCO level to ensure we can make further trade-offs to achieve the plan. From here, we move into execution. But there's one final step we can take, and that's taking a look at the actions and executions overall, and Peter now will cover that with you on the Drive calendar.
A suggestion we have to help you in keeping the overview in the MCO is called the Drive calendar. The Drive calendar is a management tool be used by the leadership team to understand what activities are happening when. So it's a summary overview, quarter by quarter, of key activities as you agreed on in the BSP program. It shows the calendar of category. It shows the main activities per channel, and it shows the main activities per route to market in each of the countries. Bring that together, it gives you the overview of what happens when. It helps you to align activities, and it also helps you to manage changes in the activities throughout the year. So it is the overview every leadership team should review on every time they sit together. It's a simple tool. It helps a lot in MCO where they use it. There is a suggested format in the deck, so use it if you want.
To this point, Peter and I have given you the steps and the tools that you need in order to form a perfect plan. Hopefully you've done that and are ready to move into the next phase of the process, which is the most important, and that's execution. What we've found and what we've seen, based on your feedback and based on our need to move toward the 2015 ambition, is we need a robust and rigorous monitoring and feedback system through the year. And the way to do that is to tie this and your plan into the QBR reviews that happen in each of your MCOs. You simply can't add activities when gaps or opportunities arise. You need to continue the principle of trade-offs so that you have fewer and bigger and better actions that will lead you to your ambition. Making sure that you have a formal, standardized, and regular review process will make sure that you're able to take advantage of opportunities that come up and address gaps that will inevitably arise as you go through the year. So, with your SVP Ops, be sure that you've defined a plan, how that happens, when that happens, and where the responsibility lies. It can't happen in a country, it's got to happen at an MCO level, and it must be in place as you begin your execution. In 2009, we began a journey, and that journey was all about integrating sales and marketing to produce one team, one plan. The ambition of BSP is simple, and that is as an enabler for us to achieve our ambition in 2015. It's about translating our MCO targets into individual work plans so that everybody within the MCO can help us along this journey. We must simplify what sometimes is a complex business, and in doing so, make trade-offs so that we can manage the workload. It's about one thing, and that's execution.
We also talked about that BSP is not a once-off process. It is an ongoing thing. It should evolve as an ongoing tool to manage business realities throughout the year and help you to adapt to those situations. We trust, in the end of the day, that talking with Leo words, that BSP is a process which helps you as an MCO to move from being ignored towards respected to ultimately be truly admired on what you're doing as an MCO. We wish you success in implementing this process.